I'm just goofing off now. Hey, man, I've been goofing off since I showed up here at the TV studio. But anyway, okay, welcome to Tom's Guitar Show, everybody. I'm Tom. They call me Guitar Tom because I'm often seen with a guitar, and they call me on the phone sometimes. They say, hey, man, what's your show about anyways? Oh, about an hour, you know. Guitar players, guitar playing, all things guitaristic. It's not really much of a call-in show anymore. We don't even bother to hook up the phone. The thing about calling in, you know, it's kind of, unless you're like NPR Talk of the Nation, it's passé, man.
It's become outdated.
That's right.
Everybody talks with their thumbs now.
That's right. So I keep my thumbs busy. You know, one's behind here and one goes. Anyway, this is a show about guitar players, guitar playing, all things guitaristic. So if you want to tweet me or something, or if you want to talk to me about it in high V, like a lot of people do on the street, we can talk about guitars, guitar playing, guitar players, all things guitaristic, the care and feeding of your guitar. What kind of guitar is right for you? Basic guitar repairs, things like that. We could talk about related topics like the sitar, the guitarron, guitarra, los uzujeras, banjos, balalaikas, bazookies, bajos, sextos, tiples, cavaquinhos, ukuleles, banjoleles, mandolins and banjolins, and bandoras and bandurias and bandolims, mandocellos and mandolas. We could talk about trombones or trombomarinas. Did I say lutes, uds, and fajuelas? I may have, I don't know. Did I say cavaquinho yet? I don't remember it, man. Chitoles, I think we pluck on, but I'm just talking about like trombones, trombomarinas, pipe organs, piccolos.
Sax and violins on TV.
Exactly, you know. Timbales and timpani, tubas. There's a tubo. It's like a, I forget what it is. It's some big tube you blow into anyway. You could pan pipes and Irish pipes and bagpipes and yeah. You know about the bagpiper who took requests and somebody said, yeah, could you play Over the Hills and Far Away? Anyway, I like that joke anyway. My brothers both were practicing bagpipes when I was a kid. When we moved to a larger house, we each had a little tiny bedroom in the upstairs there. And I had like a brother on either side. My older brother was actually pretty good at it. My younger brother was terrible at it, but you could hardly tell the difference. And I was trying to play classical. Anyway, okay, I go on to, pipe organs, piccolos, anything like that. B flat A's, C clarinets, clavichords, and
step up to the microphony.
So harmoniums, harpsichords, and anyway, anything musical. We could talk about politics, world events, your own personality problems. Keep It Clean's family show. We could talk about hurricanes. And
yeah. Looks like they're getting wet in Houston.
Yeah. I know somebody who lives there. Actually, it's the daughter of one of the owners of Tuscan Moon and her wife. They live in Houston. And they have all their batteries and everything, and they're ready for so I asked if they lived on high ground, and the only answer I got was no, and that was a little while back. So before things got exciting. So I don't know how they're doing.
They were saying on TV this morning there are a lot of people in Houston who moved there from New Orleans after the big one down there.
Yeah. Sounds like a look of the Irish to me. Potato famine, Cromwell, Anyway, this is I got to memorize the number of this Martin. It's an unusual Martin guitar. I've had it in the show a couple times before. I thought, this is a big mistake buying this guitar, but I'm really gravitating toward it in the last many months. I've been playing. I've picked this thing up, and it's actually a pretty cool. Electric, acoustic electric has a pickup in it. Nice, actually, very interesting pickup system. They had this pickup system for a short while. They discontinued this. The story I heard, it has this cutaway, which is unusual for Martin. It's an unusual kind of brown, sort of sunburst color, kind of finish on it, and it just sat on the wall, for West Music for over a year. And they had to get rid of it, because they have to pay tax on the inventory, so they have to keep moving stuff, So the manager, I don't know, probably told you the story before. I go out there sometimes. Well, once or twice a week, or 2 or 3 times a week, depends on the week, But the manager has his little office, kind of in between the where they have the guitars and things, and where they have the band and orchestra instruments. And he has a little, he's got his door open. He's got a little glass, a window. His desk overlooks this window. So he sees me coming, and he fixes me with his
eyes light up when a gas addict walks in.
That's right. He fixes me with his glittering eye, and he comes popping out of his office. So anyway, I hang around there. By the way, they have a couple of really wonderful guitars out there, but they're not like sale price items. They're brand new, including a rosewood Telecaster, which is like, twice as much as the usual, standard Telecaster made in the U.S. It's an amazing guitar. I haven't figured out a way to get it though, so I don't know. Maybe I'll just be cool. I've got But anyway, so I got this thing basically half price, which is this is made in Pennsylvania. It's the real thing. It's a real Mart. And it's the only Martin I have right now. And I think about getting another Martin, one that doesn't have a pickup in it, something like that. But actually, this thing is at least as nearly as good as the other ones that I go out there and play from time to time. So anyway, but the thing about this pickup system is if you push the button, it changes the pickup configuration. I just don't know how it works. It's a slightly different tone for every time you push it. It's different. Anyway, unfortunately, I don't know which one I'm playing. So,
Practice.
I guess I try to figure out by listening, but I get bored. And the mind, one can be easily deceived. Maybe not you, but I can. And so, anyway, I'm fooling around. I was going to play something.
Perfect pitch, so not only do those things not bother me, I usually can't notice them.
There you go. See, that's the thing, It's like, I've been in Cedar Rapids a little bit lately, and there's a thing like if you live in Cedar Rapids and you have a really good sense of smell, that's a liability.
5 smells.
Yeah. So before they closed the Heartland slaughtering, but they opened the distillery, or not to make corn liquor for our gas tanks. But anyway, but no, the thing about perfect pitch is that that's when you throw a banjo out of an airplane and it hits an accordion player, or variations of that one. Yeah. No, sorry about that. The thing about perfect pitch.
Accordion in a dumpster and don't hit the sides.
That's right. Usually it involves accordion players and or banjoists, or banjos. What's the difference between an onion and a banjo?
Nobody cries when you cut up a banjo.
Exactly. I should have brought a banjo, and I've been playing banjo a lot lately. I'm teaching banjo in college now.
Hey, all right.
I'm so proud of that. I'm teaching. I've got a little course, so I'm a professor of banjo.
Doctor of banjoology.
That's right. So I'm the low rent adjunct. That's what they call a temp in academia, or a scab if you prefer. But anyway, never mind. Either that or Taco John's is hiring. Taco Bell is usually hiring. I know they are in Cedar Rapids. Maybe I could.
I haven't seen a fast food place in years that didn't have a help wanted sign.
Yeah, well, it's hard, It's hard to do. But
hard to keep people.
Oh yeah. Anyway, backing up to what I was going to say originally, though, like about having a good sense of smell and living in Cedar Rapids. But it's like if you have perfect pitch, and you are around like things like pipe organs and pianos, you see, it's going to drive you crazy because a lot of times, they're not in tune. So one of my issues is like if you are dependent on the electronic tuner for your guitar and you're going to play with a piano player, that piano might be like, you know, an eighth of a tone flat. It's really common that the whole piano, it doesn't sound bad, you know, it's kind of tuned itself, you know, but it's just a little knotted pitch. So what do? If you don't know how to tune your guitar to the piano, to itself, and with the piano as a pitch, then you're SOL, sadly out of luck. So anyway, where was I? Okay, I was playing this.
You can't remember what the button does when you press it for change the tone.
Well, that's a problem I have with all the tones.
Which position on the button does what?
Right. All I know is I push this button here, and the guitar sounds a little different. That's what the salesman told me, or the manager actually. And I said, oh, that's cool. And I forgot all about it. And then one day I pushed the button sort of accidentally, and I said, my inner Frenchman said, tiens, which is, well, there's no English equivalent. It'd be like, wow, or wow, oh, gee, what's this?
Yeah.
You know, like, wow, what's this? That's what tiens means. So so I've been pushing it a little bit now, and then I get to where I want it, and I leave it. But then if I start experimenting, then I don't know how many times you have to push it to get back to where you started.
Didn't get a manual with the guitar.
Didn't get a manual with the guitar. And I tried to look it up online. I couldn't quite find it. Yeah. Probably if I look harder. As I say, this is a discontinued model. I'm going to play this song, but I want to tell you something about gas, the guitar acquisition syndrome, is that, you know, sometimes you could feel guilty. It's like consumerism. But I've often thought about this as like, you know, if you, if I dropped dead on the floor right now, it'd be kind of messy and it'll make an interesting TV show, of course. But my widow can go into the used guitar business, and mandolins and ukuleles and things, bass guitars, whatever, string bass. And that'll probably keep her going for a while. But the other thing about that is, if you think about, like, if consumerism, like if you consume stuff, like if you buy stuff that you use, you know, for a little while, and you either run out of it or it's no longer, you know, like a lot of electronic components and stuff that become obsolete.
Obsolete by the time you get them home.
Basically. Or, you know, whatever. If you, I mean, I guess my comparison would be like cigarettes or drugs or something like that, you know. If you something you're going to consume, because I don't actually consume the guitar, I use the guitar. Right. Now, if I drop dead, or if I go through some sort of an awakening, and so I only want one guitar, I can sell all these guitars. I have a guitar hanging on my wall from 1822, and it's you know, it's been through some changes, but you know, some cracks and glued up and stuff like that. It has nylon strings on it now instead of the natural gut that it had back in the 1820s. But I have that guitar, and I also have a whole bunch of sheet music that was written in that time, not the original editions, more contemporary ones. Actually, a lot of them are on the hard drive of my computer. But I mean, you know, stuff from the 1820s, you know, so I can actually play that music, you know, in that kind of notation, which I know something about. I teach it in my adjunct job at 2 colleges now. But anyway, so that guitar is still in business. I've got another guitar from 1930 hanging on the wall, which is, you know, in fine playing shape, and I've played it in public, just trying to, you know, it's built in the style of the 1880s. It's kind of like the company wasn't hip, so I play that one sometimes. It's a nice guitar. I have a guitar that I got in 1971. It was built in 1970 in Spain. It's hanging on the wall. I still play it, and you know, I've made money with that guitar. I was a student with that guitar. I grew up with that guitar. Still plays just fine. Sounds good. Have a really great concert guitar, 1983. It's still a great concert guitar all these years later. I got it new in 1983. Got one in 1985, got built for me. Still a great guitar. Certainly no worse. It's still got a couple dings in it, but it's a classical guitar with 10 strings. I've had it at the show once or twice. You know, I got my Loudon guitar from 1985. I've got a Guild guitar that I bought used not that long ago, but it's a 1976 model hanging on the wall. I've got the first instrument I ever bought with my own money, a baritone ukulele. I still play it. It was built in about 1958, 59. I got it used from my music teacher at Southeast Junior High in 1969 when I was a kid, from the movie I got for delivering the advertiser paper, you know, the one that you throwing people's
He's throwing my front lawn on Wednesdays.
yeah, they throw the front lawn, and then they take it and they use it for like
Bottom of a bird cage.
But yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, or you can put that underneath the cat litter in your cat box, stuff like that. But so you didn't get paid much for dropping those off, but you didn't have to keep track of everybody.
Yeah.
So I bought that uke with my money. It was $10, and used from my music teacher at school, and that's my first ukulele. So what I'm saying is, yeah, okay, this guitar, I could get tired of it finally. I could sell it to somebody else. If you don't like the electronics, you can replace them with more contemporary ones. You can play it without the electronics. They can't hear this at home, but here, Bob, listen to this. Sound okay?
Sounds fine.
Yeah, yeah. Do you think, Mr. Skabinski, sound okay? Perfectly respectable. Okay.
Like Mac Davis said, po' boy don't need electronics to make his rock and roll.
That's right. I was having a heck of a time with the computer in my office at Co yesterday, Co College, and I was down bothering the poor departmental secretary, or I guess administrative assistant, and there's a woman who actually retired. She taught there for many years, and she retired. She's just teaching like one class a week, the Alexander technique, and she was working on the other computer in there. I was trying to get this thing set up, and then I told the joke, I said, how many classical guitarists does it take to screw in a light bulb? None. They won't touch anything electric. So that's my thing, And I was thinking about going back to the natural gut strings and just, play by candlelight. I don't know, man. I'm sorry. All right. You see my... Sorry, let's get this thing in tune. You know what I say about anything worth playing? It's worth playing in tune.
Ah.
Yeah. I don't know where. I feel like I think I made that one up, but I'm sure somebody else has probably thought it up over the last 1,000 years or more.
Probably several people have thought of it.
Yeah, more than 1,000 years probably. So. Supposed to be in tune. Supposed to be in tune. All right. Well, it says it's in tune, so I'm just going to play it. I'm not sure if that's a tune or not. Oh well.
You can fool us.
No, well, I had fun. I don't know if anybody else did.
Crimea River. Maybe Julie London had a hit record on that.
Yeah, yeah, I got that on my little iPod there. I listened to her doing
Anyway, I
it.
saw her on a talk show one time. Said her music career, she spent an awful lot of it singing in bars and nightclubs. Mm-hmm. And she started out trying to sing over the crowd noise. Mm-hmm. And somebody finally told her, you can't do it. Don't try, sing soft, and see if they quiet down to listen to you. Mm-hmm. And she said it usually worked.
Yeah. I played guitars in a lot of bars, and I've noticed that if I quiet down, they don't listen to me. They just can't hear me at all. So I'm not Julie London. That's what it is.
Don't look a bit like Julie London.
Well, that's the thing. I think I've had this experience many times. You go looking for a gig, and you go walk in your guitar, and they look and say, "Oh no, here comes a guy with a guitar." I think that happens like pretty much every time I go play someplace. Yeah. Like down at the Tuscan Moon, if they don't already know me, because I know people know me because they're regular people, and I'm part of the I'm a tourist attraction, now I've been there for so long, but people who don't know, so they're here for a nice dinner, and then I show up with my guitar and start setting things up.
Player.
Oh no, here comes a guy with a guitar. So
Speaking of the Tuscan Moon,
yeah.
Are you playing there this weekend?
Oh yeah, I'll be there. Slight change of plans. They're having a car show on Saturday. So like last Saturday I didn't play. I tried to, but I didn't. I wanted, that was Kelowna Appreciation Days. And they had rock band, or a country band, at the end of the street. So the whole street was blocked off. And so this week they're having the car show. So it's like a contest to see who's got the coolest car from the 50s and 60s and stuff like that. So shiny cars. One year I went there, I couldn't play, but I went there, hung around a 59 Chevy Impala one with fins, it was all shiny and everything. So this week, just for fun, I'm going to play Thursday night and Friday night at the Tuscan Moon. So that'll be a little different. I think I played it Thursday once or twice before. There's some talk when it's really busy in the summer of me playing on Thursdays, which would be fine, I guess. I need the workout. But yeah, so I'll be there Thursday night. I'm going to start early, try to get there by 5:30. Maybe I'll play until the party's over, but it might be over like by 9, as opposed to being more like 10, which is on Fridays and Saturdays. So I'll be there on Thursday and Friday at Tuscan Moon in beautiful downtown Kelowna. Easy to find.
Exit 80 off of 218. Go west, young man.
That'll do it. Yeah, you drive through Riverside, which is your birthplace of Captain Kirk, and then you get to the metropolis of Kelowna. The next, it's like 7 miles away from Riverside there.
And if you see that canyon Captain Kirk crashed the Corvette into, let us know where you find it.
Yeah, see if you can find a canyon there in Iowa. I think they always got Idaho and Iowa and Ohio mixed up. Ohio's not that different in some ways. They have a Great Lake up there, I guess, but Idaho is quite different, actually. Ohio is different, but not as different as Idaho. Anyway, but yeah. So you just go take Highway 218 south. You get off at Riverside and don't turn left for the casino. You don't want to go there, man. You want to go right, and you get to go through the metropolis, the urban area of Riverside, Iowa, future birthplace of Captain Kirk. And then you go to the next town over 7 miles on Highway 22, and there you'll find Kelowna. When you see the little sign that says Business District with an arrow to point to turn left, and just drive there. And when you see this vine-covered 2-story red brick building with the pergola and the little, courtyard patio, that's Tuscan Moon. You can't miss it. It's got a big wooden sign that says Tuscan Moon with a moon on it and everything. And I'll be there Thursday, Friday night. And you can also go down Highway 1. Which is an interesting drive. You get to go by Stringtown and like the Amish grocery store.
Watch out for the buggies.
Yeah, well, either way, you got to watch out for the buggies. They should be okay. But man, last time I was driving out there, there's a buggy driving out in the lane, not at the side of the road they're supposed to, and I had to slow down to 15 miles an hour. Because the speed limit is 55, which means some people go 65 and some people go 42. Yeah. And the buggies go 15. So but they're not supposed to be on the road. So I'm there. And then I kind of slow way down because if it says 55, I'll go 57 because I'm a rebel, Yeah. And people still pass me all angry. But But anyway, on a curve with a little line against them. But anyway, because I might be crazy, but I'm not stupid. Anyway, so there's a buggy right in front of me, and I slow way down, and then he slowly pulls off the side of the road, and there's a Amish guy, big hat and everything like that. And there's a little kid sitting in his lap with a big hat and the suspenders, you know, a little like 5-year-old, maybe 6-year-old tops, you know, teach him how to drive the buggy. I say, well, you teach him how to drive the buggy, you're not doing a very good job, because the first point of going any kind of trip is try to get there and home alive. Yeah. That's the first point. Now, if you get your car dirty or something like that, you know, even if you get a speeding ticket, which you won't do in a buggy, you know, it's unpleasant, but at least you get home alive, because where there's life, there's hope.
But getting rear-ended by a 4,000-pound car.
Going like, you know, 58 miles an hour or 57 while you're going 15 in a buggy.
Yeah.
I mean, no.
You're guaranteed to come out second best.
But I was paying attention, which I always do, going back to the first rule of traveling, try to get there alive. Yeah. And, you know, that's my modus operandi so far. Unless this, maybe I'm in purgatory. I don't even know it, but I think I'm still alive. I mean, I appear to be, right? Yeah. I'm
looks
animated.
like
yeah. I mean, unless you're living in some alternate reality.
And I'm here too, so.
Yeah, well, I hope so. I mean, it's all be a dream, but you know, leave that to the philosophers. We could all be brains in a jar. How do we know? Well, we don't. But for now, I'm just going to assume that this is.
It seems a safe assumption.
Yeah, it seems like it's reality. But anyway, yeah. So even driving over here, so the buggies are one thing, but driving over here, so I was. You know, going to use I've driven to PATV quite a few times over. I was, you know, I was one of the first
20 years.
Yeah, or the last 20-some years. But it used to be the library. Then it was up the street where the soup kitchen is now, or whatever. And now it's here. But I was, you know, like maybe one of the first, maybe the first show that ever came out of this PATV, this building, this entity of PATV. I've been coming here for years, and I come here, you know, once or twice a week anyway, because they've in their, you know. Somehow they made me the president of the board of directors here again. Well, same thing that's benefited me in my modest music career is I can show up sober and ready to work. Yeah. And my personal problems don't in any way impact my ability to run a board meeting or something like that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I've had people who are like, you know, the board of directors, even the president of the board who maybe should have worked this stuff out by 5th grade, maybe 8th grade at the latest, and they still hadn't. And now that they're 60, you know, they're still, you know, they're running out of time to try to work out their personal problems, power and status. And like me, I don't care. I mean, you know, I shouldn't be given a gold card, you know. I should have one and going to a guitar shop. That's a bad thing, you know. Yeah. So. Just thinking about that the other day. I'm just going to play a bunch of songs. I'm just goofing off. I'm sorry, man. But so I was in Kelowna, and I turned out I couldn't play. I was ready to play, you know, on Saturday night because I thought maybe there would be like the band would start later, or there'd be a big gap, like an hour or so between. But there was no time for me to play. Really, there was only very short periods when they didn't have a band. So I went out for a walk. I walked around Kelowna quite a bit, and I actually walked all the way to the highway on the other direction, and just, you know, a fair amount. It wasn't that far really, but and then the tavern in the town is a Hard Luck Cafe, where you can get a burger basket and all that stuff. But it's basically the local watering hole in Kelowna, and Kelowna is a heavily Mennonite town, you know. Yeah. So you'll never see 2 Mennonites drinking. One Mennonite, sure, but not two. You see, because they cancel each other out, so they'll never catch the other one drinking. Anyway, so I've been hearing about the Hard Luck, and there was a guy who I guess got fired from the kitchen or something like that. He went to work at the Hard Luck, cooking there, you know, going from the fine dining to the burger basket thing, but I guess he was still in the business. But anyway, so I've been hearing about the Hard Luck for years, but I never knew where it was. So I was walking this direction, and by golly, there was the Hard Luck Cafe, and I walked right past it. Because I'm the kind of guy who can walk past a tavern. Some people can't.
Yeah, like the old joke, 2 Irishmen walk past a bar.
Yeah.
Really, it could happen.
Yeah, right. That's anyway. But I'm just saying that I have a problem with guitar shops. So I could be in Cedar Rapids, and if I'm I had to go to this one guy's house who's kind of on the north side, off of, like, you know, about a only a mile off of Collins Road and go that way, and then come the way back, I get on Collins Road and think, well, if I go, instead of turning right to go to the interstate, home, I could turn left and go to the Guitar Center. It's still open for another 45 minutes, and then I can go home. You see, so I do, say it's only, 2 miles out of my way, maybe 2.5,
And they got guitars there.
They do, and amplifiers. But anyway, that's all. I don't know.
But if you fool around with guitars for an hour, you can still drive.
That's true. The only real physical thing that happens is you get these little calluses on your fingertips, but I don't think that hurts you. I think that's just the way your body normally works, I mean,
It doesn't affect your driving anyway.
it doesn't affect my driving. I can get pulled over. I was playing at a party a couple months ago or whatever. I don't know when it was, but there's one guy had a breathalyzer thing that had an app on his phone. You could blow in the thing and they would register on your phone. See this little thing. And they tried it out to see who was ready to drive and everything. And just for fun, they wanted to try it on me. And I did 0 because I drank 2 little bottles of Fuji water, I think, and then I had some of the sushi from the sushi bar that they had catered, and if they totally drug test me, they'll say, okay, looks like he's had a couple ibuprofen and a pot of coffee, and I had a gig in Finland, Minnesota, way up north, in Minnesota, and where the Finns live at the Finn Lodge in Finland, Minnesota. And it was like a concert thing, and then afterwards they all had coffee because they were Scandinavians in Minnesota. So that's what you do is you have coffee. So I'm sitting there having coffee, and the guy sitting across from me talking to with the kind of tired eyes. He was a Minnesota Highway Patrol guy, off duty.
Yeah.
So here I am drinking coffee with the Minnesota Highway Patrol, and I'm thinking, it's a lot. I just, I'm sorry. I know if I were a heavy drinking man, all that alcohol would play havoc on my internal organs. I might have more social success in some ways, but more failures too. I mean, you could meet people in jail too, but so I could pass a background check. My internal organs haven't been tickled. I haven't done anything, heinous. I mean, I'm just embarrassed. I'm embarrassing myself right here by being goofy and talking about this, but. Collecting guitars and then trying to play different styles of music, this guy, I was working with a new student, and he didn't want to play with a pick. Yeah. So I got all excited about these different strumming techniques you can do on a folk guitar by borrowing them from other countries. And the guy had a Spanish first and last name, as a college student. So I said, yeah, like the cuatro, from Venezuela and Colombia, The guy had no idea, of course, but so I go like. And I get all excited. People just glaze over and say, what's this guy doing? If that ain't country. Never mind.
Yeah. An Iowan with a Spanish name is not a Spaniard.
Or
a South American.
Or a Chilean or a Guatemalan He wasn't an Iowan anyway. He just came from Hawaii for some reason. I don't know what it's none of my business. If the kid is Spanish name, he looks like he's darker than usual. Like Czech or German that you meet around here, quite a bit. But that doesn't mean he knows anything about the kind of stuff they play in the hills in Venezuela on a cuatro. I mean, I don't know where he's from, and maybe he's originally from San Diego. And anyway, never mind. None of my business. Besides, just because you have a Spanish name doesn't mean you can play the kind of music or have the kind of rhythmic sense that people who live in certain countries where they speak Spanish have. I mean, Yeah. And what I noticed when I was teaching a bunch of mostly Mexican kids in a neighborhood center, that, some stuff, I was trying to show them some stuff that I knew because I played a lot of Mexican music. The stuff that I used to do was like all these songs. It'd be like Frank Sinatra to somebody now. Kids had no idea. They're listening to their own kind of brand of heavy metal.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, that's because I'm old, man. In fact, the music was old when I was a kid that I was doing.
Like the old joke about you tell the kids, the Beatles, that was Paul McCartney's band before Wings. They don't know who Wings is.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of water under the bridge. Aaron's hair is blue this week. Yeah. Is that blue?
Yep.
Yeah.
Blue or green?
It was green last week.
No.
It's transitioning. It's okay. It's fine. If somebody works here, her hair is, maybe it's green. I don't know. Anyway, never mind. Okay. So where were we? Oh yeah, I was going to play something.
You're going to play something.
Yeah. I was going to play like 8 songs to this show. You know, I wasn't going to talk. I was going to play it. Yeah, just keep cranking them out. I should try that some week. There's a kind of a fingerstyle technique on a guitar, like folk guitar. It's called frailing. I think frailing was a term that was used in the 19th century and still used in some places. And there's clawhammer banjo, people call that's kind of won out. And like in the 1960s, people started writing books about mountain banjo styles, and they tried to establish an orthodoxy, like this is the way they do it in the mountains. But if you ask 2 hillbillies, how to play the banjo,
2 answers.
you get 2 answers. If you say, well, these people over here, these clans and these people know each other, they play like over here, they have a different school of thought, and it's right over this little mountain here. So the frailing thing though is something. I've been not full. I've been researching this stuff since I was a teenager. Okay, since I was 16 or so. Not, constantly, but I used to go to the music library at the university and read articles. That was back in the old days before they had the internets. So I would, read these journals, and things, and I had books and stuff, and I'd get used books, and I'd go to Ebel Music Store, which is now gone, but it was a great sheet music store from an early age, and I've been working on this stuff for a while. I didn't start playing banjo till I was 16, but, so I came to it late in life. That was 1973. But but then I was actually just like less than a year ago. I was driving home from a gig in Kelowna, and the guy was talking. He was Elvis's guitar player early in Elvis's career when he was becoming a superstar. And one of the things he said was that they had that they couldn't hear themselves at all because all the girls were screaming. But the thing was that Elvis would do his dance and he would shake that thing so that the drummer, the bass player, and the guitar player behind him were being conducted by Elvis's bottom. He said it was the first band in history that was ever, directed by somebody's, well, bottom is the word I would use on a family show. But he didn't. I don't think he said that actually. But that was what he meant. Okay. So, but the other thing he said was that when they started out, that Elvis, he sang his way and he get excited and move around, but he had an acoustic guitar and he'd frail it. This is a guy with a deep Southern accent. He'd frail that thing. And I thought, oh. And then I went home and I looked at it, and up on the internet, the articles say that's also what I saw in a folk book made like decades ago on, they call it like thumb brush technique on the guitar. Thumb brusha. So like Maybelle Carter, for instance, was later in her career, she would wear a thumb pick, and then she'd wear the finger pick that comes around, the other side like this. Then she'd wear it backwards, so it'd be for a brush. She'd be like, so the frailing. And then I always thought Lester Flatt used a guitar pick, a flat pick. I finally saw, like videos once YouTube came around, and he was doing that. I thought, wow, man. And then I came up with this thing and they do this on banjo too, and I'm playing like frailing a banjo. When I do that, instead of like the scrugs where where your fingers are coming this way, if you go this way. So I started doing this, like, of course I've been doing this for a long time. This is claw hammer, frailing, whatever. But then I started coming up with my ring finger. I don't know if anybody else does this. There are a whole bunch of variations on this claw hammer, frailing, Banjo styles when the fingers go this way instead of coming this way, which is what scrugs. I should have a banjo to describe this, but anyway, so what I do is I do an upstroke with my ring finger and downstroke with my index, or maybe my index and middle fingers. So. See? Stuff like that. Now, what I did there was
You could play in a hillbilly band.
Of course I could play in a hillbilly band. I'm like a walking hillbilly band. I got the guitar, I got the banjo, I got the mandolin, and I got string bass. By the time I was 16, I played all those things. I was like, that was like the newgrass revolution that was going on in my high school. I don't know if you know Big Wooden Radio and Joe Peterson is a mandolin player. We were kids together. We played in the orchestra. I played string bass. He played cello. I sold him his first mandolin, which was my first mandolin, which I stole from my sister because it was her first and last mandolin. I've had a few mandolins since then. And heck, I'd buy a mandolin tomorrow. In fact, I'll tell you, the pawn shop right by Coe College, I went in there because I had a little break. Look around, because...
Their eyes light up when they see you, too. Huh?
Yeah, well, they don't know me as well, but they... and they usually have desperate people standing in line to pawn their possessions. Yeah. So that's not... at the pawn shop...
Somebody walking in with money is a whole different thing.
That's right. Well, I didn't have any money, which is a good thing. Yeah. Two guys walking down the street. One of them was a guitar player. The other one, well, he didn't have any money either. But anyway, so they have a banjolin. And a pretty good-looking one, too, but it needs a lot of work. The neck angle's all messed up. I have had a banjolin for many years. I paid $150 for it in antique, and it cost me $300 or $400 to get a guy to straighten it out because he had to rebuild the whole thing in there. Yeah. So I saw this one. My inner Frenchman said, "Tiens," and I started thinking, "Wait a minute, I've got one of those, and now it plays fine." I had it hang on the wall for years as an ornament, and I finally, saved up the money, and I got a guy to fix it, so now it's playable. And now it's hanging on the wall again, and I don't play it. Because I could play.
You gotta get another one.
Yeah. So I thought, oh man, I'm leaving. And then they have like television sets, cell phones, some guitars and amps, and a whole bunch of firearms. Yeah. So, if I need a 12 gauge, a beat up looking 12 gauge that might have killed somebody, I don't know. I could go get one there. Or I could just save my money for my next guitar, which is probably what I do. I don't.
Since you don't collect firearms.
No. Yeah.
Earlier, you were talking about, as far as you knew, you thought you were alive. You might be in purgatory, but you think you're alive, and it made me think of. There's a branch of philosophy called solipsism. Are you
right.
familiar?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically you have no proof that anything outside your own mind exists. So
that's right.
We could all be figments of your imagination. I was recently reading some Alan Watts, and he was wondering what a convention of solipsis would be like.
Yeah, that'd be funny. What a convention of solipsists would. Yeah.
Is it solipsistic in here, or is it just me?
Yeah. Right. Well, I've read about this, and I've never actually read anything by Alan Watts, but I've listened to a whole bunch of his lectures because there are a whole bunch of them on YouTube, and I've been aware of him. So his talks are, people have recorded them over the years, and that's quicker because you can listen to him talk for an hour. And but yeah, we may all be brains in jars somewhere. We might be part of some sort of computer program. This might be all. Just, this may all be my imagination. You may not exist, and I may be just having some dream, Now, there's a guy, think about it, because this show used to be like a call-in show. People would call all the time. So we had a guy whose job it was to handle all the phone calls. And we'd have, at least a dozen, maybe, up to 16 or 17 calls a show. And then, so his rather mellifluous, somewhat bored-sounding voice would come over. It's a very deadpan, Tom, you have a call over the intercom. So I'd say, hello, on Tom's Guitar Show. And then whatever that would happen. But anyway, he got fungal pneumonia one time and ended up in the intensive care ward. And they kept him, doped up, which they do, and he was, had this long, epic dream, maybe it went on for days, I don't know. He was convinced that he was in New Orleans having, adventures. He was there, he was having all these experiences in New Orleans. And actually, he was hooked up to a bunch of tubes in the intensive care unit. And then when he got out, after, being in the hospital for quite a while, when he came to, they put him in a regular room after he, stabilized. He was still in the hospital for a while. When he came out, it was hard for him to really because it was so real to him that he was, for this long, so he thought he was in New Orleans for a long time, actually, for an extended visit. But actually, he was just hooked up to tubes in the intensive care ward. So he had this story. And so it's kind of a little hard to recalibrate his mind to realize, oh, wait a minute, that was all a dream. That was a dream? Maybe it was the best time of his life. I don't know. But So that's my well, maybe I'm in intensive care. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't exist. Maybe I'm a part of your, I'm a protrusion of your imagination. And Mr. Skopinski here, his whole long and interesting life, checkered career is all just imagining.
One of the all-time great TV show finales was when the second Newhart show went off the air. Did you see that one?
I don't think so.
Oh, well, he wakes up in bed with his wife from the first show and says, I've been having this craziest dream where I was working at a hotel up northeast and wearing sweaters all the time.
That's pretty good. Well, for now, I'm just going to assume this is reality.
Yeah.
You know. The other thing is that maybe the whole universe, because there's no substance to it, it's, there's very little substance. It's all energy. Yeah. It's like things rotating. So how come you don't fall through the floor? Electromagnetic repulsion. Same reason we try to push two magnets together and they don't want to go. That's what's keeping us from falling through the floor. But this whole thing is all energy. There's this solidity. This is an illusion. It's all actually just like little things. So I've heard that the Aborigines in Australia think this is the dream time. This is the dream of a god, and that none of this is real. But if I thought I knew that, if I told you I know the truth, then you'd know I was lying to you. Anyway, I've wasted a lot of time. Didn't I?
Better play something.
Folk guitar. I'll be back next week. Come down, hear me on Thursday at the Tuscan Moon. See, that's exotic. I'll be there Thursday and Friday, Tuscan Moon. Or go to the car show on Saturday.